Alright guys, I'm going to do a review, tips and a review on the Chinese scooter here. So this is a GMW, which is Gorilla Motorworks, R1, 50cc. I've got 2,400 miles on this, okay? Of course I keep it clean, keep it nice, everything runs fine. So just a couple tips on if you're going to get into these, stuff you should really look out for, okay? First of all, tire pressure. You're going to want to make sure your tires stay rock hard, or first of all, you're going to lose speed from it, and second of all, it'll be unsafe anyway. So just like any other motorcycle, you're going to want to make sure, usually they're 36 psi, so make sure they stay up at that and you'll be doing fine. Definitely change your oil every 1,000 miles. And your gear oil, I do the gear oil at the same time, so it's pretty easy. You know, down here you got your gear oil fill, and then under there is the drain. So just do them at the same time, and you'll always be running clean stuff, you know what I mean, for the money. Just it'll make it last a lot longer anyway. So a couple of mods that I did to this is a new carburetor. So I went with the 19mm carburetor and the CDI. So the carburetor basically solved a lot of problems. It doesn't run good in the cold because the stock carburetor is kind of too small to slide on it. And then the CDI gave it a lot more rev range, so you can rev up more. So without tuning, it's not really tuning for speed, it was just kind of solving some problems. And it really, really helped. So for the, you know, 70 bucks I spent, really took it up a notch. I always run 93 gas, just, you know, keep it nice. And don't ever let these bikes sit around for, you know, a couple months at a time, because they will definitely, you know, the gas will get all jammed up in there and they won't run good. The carburetors are really small in these. Definitely one thing to look out for, if you're ever, when you're putting the bike onto the center stand, okay, it's usually up here if the bike is, you know, standing on it or sitting on the ground. Your kickstart is right here, and it's just way too close. So be careful you don't hit that down as you're pushing down on your center stand to put the bike up on it. Braking, you definitely want to brake with both front and rear brakes at the same time. Just like a motorcycle, it's going to slow the bike down nice and even. You're going to want to adjust the rear drum brake that's right here every so often as it needs it. So you just spin that clockwise, like maybe twice, and then that'll tighten that back up for you. And you get about 3,000 miles out of that back brake. And then this one's a disc, so you can see where the discs are. You can see where your pads are at on that. The front is not a big deal. Sometimes you have to lube the front hub, or this tire doesn't spin well. One of the biggest concerns about these bikes is potholes. Okay, guys, always be looking out for potholes. Don't think you can just ride this thing around like you're, you know, down the vineyard and you're just having a good old time. I live in Quincy, Massachusetts, and the potholes are horrendous. And if you go into one of those with these bikes, believe me, it's gonna be a sad story. You're gonna come off the bike, and the bike will be ruined. It'll be a horrible thing. So always keep on the lookout. These bikes don't, you know, this isn't a Harley, you know, Jesus. Definitely get a motorcycle helmet. Don't try to wear some stupid bicycle helmet like an idiot. Basically pretend like this thing's a motorcycle, you know. Don't mess around with it. Don't pass in between cars, you know, like you're like a badass because you fit. Basically, I ride like I'm just a car. I don't try to pass people. And even sometimes you go over to the side and wave people on, because when you're going uphill, these things slow down a little bit. So, you know, they're not the fastest bike on the planet, you know. Definitely don't check your oil. Don't open your oil fill. Don't check your oil dipstick right after you shut the bike off, because it'll actually make the oil bubble and it'll start pouring out of there. So wait at least 5-10 minutes before you check the oil on the, you know, after you're riding. Okay, let's see. Don't modify it for speed. A lot of people take this air box off and then they put just a little air filter up the top there. And what that's going to do actually is put more air into the bike, and yeah, it'll go faster, but you're actually leaning it out, so you're making it have more air and not giving it more gas, which is going to make the engine run hotter and fry your rings sooner. So, you know, if you want a bigger bike, just get a bigger bike. Don't try to make these things go faster. It's silliness. I always keep mine super clean. Obviously, it's going to protect it a lot longer. Stuff won't get rusted up and junked up. Check your nuts and bolts. I actually had a couple things get loose already. Inside here, there's a fan, and one of the bolts fell out of there. And then my my rear brake lever, the bolt dropped out of that. I had to put a new one on it. I would say definitely get a 4-stroke rather than a 2-stroke on these bikes, because I can just pull up to any gas station and put gas in this thing. And if you got a 2-stroke, you got to mix the gas. So where are you going to fill that up? What, are you going to mix it yourself? I mean, you got to put, you know, you get 100 miles out of a tank. These things get about 100 miles a gallon, but you don't want to mess with mixing the gas all the time. I mean, I pull up to any gas station and put gas in this thing. Definitely, if you get a hole in your tire, don't try to plug it. Don't, you know, it's not a car tire. Just get a new tire. Don't mess with it, because if you get stranded with a flat tire again, just because you plugged it like an idiot, you're going to be pretty pissed off. Then I would say just definitely get a nice bike. This is, you can see the frame on this is a big bike. This one costs about 1,500 bucks. GMW makes a great bike. It's got the bigger wheels, you know, longer wheelbase. It has a rear seat, which you can only put somebody light on there, but you know, don't get one of those Taos for $800. I mean, sweet Jesus, you know, spend some money. You know, you're gonna be happier with it in the long run anyway. So, and then definitely whenever you're parking the bike, park where you're visible, because you don't want to like bury yourself behind a truck or something, and then somebody won't see. They'll think no cars in that spot, and they'll come whipping in and they'll crash into your bike. Okay, which actually somebody did to mine. Luckily, it didn't hurt it. So I was parked just like this, and there was a big truck basically right where I am, right here, and somebody didn't see it, and they drove right into the bike, hit my front wheel, and I could tell because there was a 10-inch slide mark on my center stand, and they actually pushed my bike back 10 inches, you know, because they decided to whip into a parking spot that I was actually friggin' parked in. So, all right, guys, hopefully that gives you a little insight. You know, definitely just ride safe, pretend you're a motorcycle. These don't go that fast. But if you take care of it, they can be really nice, you know. But again, potholes, man, believe me, you're gonna ruin yourself if you go into a big pothole. So just nice and easy and nice and safe on these. Just keep a lookout. You know, if you ever rode a motorcycle, you know, people know that you just got to be careful. All right, thanks, guys. Scoot on.